Hi, Sunny here. Welcome to today's video. Today we're going to talk about how to break through this habit and this cycle of constant thinking, overthinking, compulsive thinking, always just remaining in your mind. Why do you want to let go of this habit? Why do you want to become free from excessive thinking? Because it binds us. Inside of this thinkingness lies our entire suffering. It makes us feel very contracted. It makes life feel so effortful. And it breeds fear within your heart because you are constantly like feeling like you have to figure out your future and figure out the whys and the whats and the hows and the whens. And you feel such attachment to your plans and to how things must work out and when will they work out and so on. So it is a burden. So as you begin to explore these spiritual teachings and start to grow in your inner presence, you start to grow in the understanding of that which is prior to thinking, that which you are prior to thinking. Life takes on a much greater simplicity where without you constantly worrying about the what and the when and the how and the where, a silent clarity, a deeper intelligence begins to take over your life, and it starts to orchestrate everything without such involvement from you. There's a greater peace and harmony and a greater quality in everything that you do. And previously, when we were still living just through thoughts, we needed so many conditions to be fulfilled, so many external conditions in order to be happy. But now, through stepping out of thought, which we will talk about today, you'll find that regardless of your external conditions, you start to discover your capacity to be at peace. Regardless of what may be happening outside of you, there's a inner stillness, an inner contentment that isn't available in thinking. So that is the dimension, the realm that you begin to discover when you step out of thinking. It can only happen when you step out of thinking. Thinking is the veil which obscures your true nature of stillness, peace, aliveness, beingness. So today we're going to cover exactly that, how to step out of constant thoughts. So I'm going to share with you four things. Okay. It's going to be like four methods, four portals, four ways on how to go about doing so. It's not that you have to incorporate all four of them. Even if you do one wholeheartedly, it will help you naturally practice the other three. So let's begin. So the first thing is start to feel the connectedness, the simplicity, the peacefulness, the stillness of that space, that presence when you do step out of thinking. So, for the purpose of the rest of the video, be very present with me because it will help you absorb this message a lot better. When you are present, when you are not in thought, constantly worrying about what and when and how and where, next and later, before, just take a moment to step out of that right now. Start to feel the beauty of this beingness. When you step out of thought, start to feel the connectedness, the simplicity of just being. There's a beauty in it that isn't accessible in thinking. And when you just start doing this in the beginning, it's also very vague, right? It doesn't fully make sense. But when you start to spend more time here in the timeless presence, just simplicity of being, you still are, your world still is, your body's still here, but you have stepped out of your mind. You have brought your attention out of your mind. There is like a simple beauty here. Start to feel that. Start to grow in love with it. In the beginning, when I had just started meditation, I used to look at this as like my safe haven, as like a cave that I would crawl into to escape from the suffering of my thinking. And in the beginning, it's totally okay to look at it as a coping mechanism or an escape, but it turns into something much more beautiful than that. Rather than becoming an escape, it becomes your home. So we have to fall in love with this feeling of connectedness, feeling of just being, the beauty of just seeing life as it is without filters of judgment and description. Because the more we fall in love with this and the more we experience the simplicity and beauty of this and the peacefulness of this, naturally something within us wants to dwell in thought less and less. Notice that whatever we talk about today, it isn't going to be like, hey, you have to like stop thought or you have to force your way out of thought. I'm not going to share with you that because it's not going to help you at all, because then it'll always further feel like a battle. What I will share with you today is just simple ways and perspective shifts that help you ground yourself in silence, in the space prior to the arising of thought. And so the first way that we are talking right now is falling in love with this feeling of peacefulness, simplicity, beauty, connectedness that is there when you step out of thoughts. Naturally, the attachment to thought will start to wane, wither away, the more you discover this beauty of inner stillness. So let's move on to our second approach. By the way, at any time, if you have any questions about this, feel free to either comment them down below, or you can also join our free support group and ask there. Okay. We have a lovely community there that is going to be of great help to you. I'll link that down below. So, the second thing we're going to talk about that will help you break the habit of excessive thinking is to realize that thoughts are purely conceptual. They are not the truth. They do not project the truth. All thoughts know is to generate ideas about things. But ideas about things aren't the actual thing. For example, the word book is not this. You see? The word phone is not this. The word glass is not this. Words are just empty labels, empty descriptions, ideas designed to convey a definition, a meaning. Thoughts don't know anything about the world, okay? They don't actually know the world as it is. They just project ideas, theories, concepts about things. The reason this is so important to understand is because we are sort of conditioned to believe that thoughts are reality, that what thoughts project is reality. Whereas Your descriptions about things, definitions about things, judgments about things or people or in places are not the truth of the matter. They are opinions, they are theories, they are concepts. Notice how we invest so much sense of reality, identity, truthfulness into these definitions and ideas, concepts. We don't ever really know people as they are, life as it is, things as they are, places as they are, even ourselves as what we are. We only know far removed definitions or ideas about who we are, what life is, what people are. When we live in thoughts, we are one step removed from life as it is. And that's why it feels so miserable. And the ego thrives from this. The ego needs to constantly derive its apparent existence from more and more definitions. That's why you feel like the compulsive need to stay in thought. So once you start to actually recognize the conceptual nature of thoughts and how concepts are not the truth, then you start to really become curious about, hey, what is life actually like? And you start to become more motivated naturally from within to step outside of concepts, step outside of thoughts. Thoughts start to mean less and less for you. You stop trying to remain in thoughts, constantly thinking about your future and past and about your life. And you start to meet life actually as it is, here and now. And you start to, from that, gain a deeper intelligence, a deeper wisdom on how things are, who you are, what life is. This is why you may have heard in the past that wisdom does not lie in thoughts. It lies within you. This is why so many spiritual practices invite you to step out of thought, because outside of thought, you are meeting life as it is, face to face. And therefore you come to know about it from within without even figuring it out. You just come to understand life as it is from a deeper intuitive intelligence. So the more you realize the conceptual nature of thoughts, the more you will naturally, want to engage in them less. It won't be through force. It won't be through trying to do a million things to suppress thought. Your interest in thought will just wither away. So this is something very, very important. Now, that brings us to our next point, which is this is sort of like a practice that you can do anytime you find yourself in just constant thought. Learn to just let go. This may seem a little vague in the beginning, but you have the capacity to do this. Learn to just drop thought. In the beginning, you feel like this is dangerous, like, oh my God, if I'm just dropping thought, like how am I going to function? But you'll start to notice that the more you just drop thought, you whenever you notice, whenever you remember that, hey, I'm just thinking about this, and that, you just drop thought, let go. And you just remain silent, aware. In the beginning, it feels like, hey, how am I going to make life work and whatnot? And because we have the illusion that constant excessive thinking is holding life together, but it's an illusion. Actually, when you step out of thought, when you start to just learn to let go of thought, you start to discover that thought was never holding life together in the first place. Again, you fall into the lap of a deeper intuitive intelligence from where you always know how to act, when to act, what to do, what to say, without you thinking so much about the why and the what and the when and the how and the where. So you see, thought is like a superficial intelligence. Whereas when you step out of thought, you're stepping into wisdom, clarity, insight, knowledge, true knowledge, which is like an intuitive knowledge. This is how stepping out of thought simplifies your life. Thoughts complicate your life. Stepping out of thought simplifies your life. The more you actually learn to let go and disengage from thought, drop thought, the moment you notice it developing, just drop it. And you start to just remain free from thought. The more gradually as you grow in this practice, you will also be able to then engage in thought without needing, like, feeling entangled in it. So initially, it's all about just like, as often as you remember, just let go of thought. But gradually, as time goes on, there's some, like, let's say, thinking while working or planning, things like that. You'll be able to engage in it without even feeling entangled, without allowing that to develop into psychological thought, which is just past, future, what's going to happen to me. So for now, while you're still going through that phase of balancing, practice this whenever you can remember, and whenever you're not doing anything that maybe you feel requires a lot of complex problem solving and thinking. During those moments, just drop thought. Let go of it as often as possible. When you are working and when you feel like you need to think in order to plan and solve, just do that. Okay? Think all you want. When you do find your thinking turning into psychological thinking, which is like concern, worry, past, future, during those moments, drop thought. Let it go. Just practice disengaging. Let go of interest in what the mind says. Just practice disengaging. You just let go. Even the thought that says how to let go, you just let go. Even the thought that says I'm confused, you just let go. You just have no interest in what thought says, you just let go in moments of practice. And you remain present. You just stay as the presence. And then gradually you'll find yourself thinking again. It's okay. Don't feel guilty. Just whenever you do remember, just let go and be. So that is our third thing. Try that out. Now, this ties into the fourth thing, which is when you let go of thought and you are just there, present. Notice that presence is inseparable from what you really are. You are that presence. So this is really like a being yourself. When you are present, you are being yourself, being what you are. This is the purest form of self-love. This is the greatest service you can do for yourself. In this presence, all your mental dysfunction from the background will start to just vanish. Your emotional trauma, your dysfunctional habits, and so on, they will all start to vanish little by little. Whatever remains will be there to aid you in your journey, meaning there will be some problems and things that remain, right? Some dysfunctional habits and whatnot, and emotional patterns. They will remain. They will be the challenges through which you have to practice these spiritual disciplines and grow in your spiritual journey. So they are not your enemy. They are not really problems as per se. But what I mean to say is that the more you discover yourself as one with this presence that remains in the absence of thought, the more your identification with everything will start to go. And many dysfunctional and like suffering, things that like created suffering will begin to naturally dissipate without you even doing anything. How wonderful is that? So fall in love with this presence. You are that presence more than you are this mind, more than you are this body. You are that presence. And notice that when you are with that presence, when you are being that presence, there is absolutely no concept operating, projecting the person you are, the past you've had, the story you have, the things you need to go get to be happy. the things you've been through, all of that mental drama is absent, and you simply are. You are like that radiant light of the self, which is totally pure, totally complete, lacking nothing, absolutely peaceful, serene, alive, present. This is the dimension you need to discover within yourself. And again, through this, naturally, your interest in engaging in constant psychological chatter will just start to diminish. None of these things are you doing anything by force. It's more so just a letting go, falling into the lap of that which you already are, that which you have always been. So there you have it. Practice, practice, practice. Again, if you need support with this, join our community. We even have a free meditation course in there for you that you can go through that will help you with this, with these practices. I would recommend doing these during the day and also creating a specific time in your day where you sit down and you close your eyes and you do this engagement of thought and recognizing and just being one with this presence. Instructions on how to do that is also in our group. So I highly encourage you to join. That's all for this video. Let me know what you thought about it in the comments below. Let me know your greatest takeaway from today's video. Thank you for watching. I will see you next time.